Here are the top stories for today, August 5, 2021. From no to yes, the fetching of authorized workers by non-APORs is now allowed in Metro Manila, which will shift to the strictest enhanced community quarantine starting tomorrow. The government will maximize the 2-week ECQ in Metro Manila to beef up pandemic response and prevent the country from experiencing an unprecedented surge in COVID-19 cases that occurred in other countries. The country administers almost 22 million COVID-19 vaccines. The number of fully vaccinated individuals has reached 10 million. And the ASEAN calls on anew concerned parties to avoid actions that may escalate tensions in the South China Sea. Good day, I am William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. The Philippine National Police clarifies the policy on the fetching of essential workers to and from their workplace. Under the Enhanced Community Quarantine or ECQ protocols, only APORs or authorized persons outside of residence are allowed to go out. PNP Chief General Guillermo Eleazar said the National Task Force Against COVID-19 headed by Interior Secretary Eduardo Año already gave a go signal for non-APORs to fetch frontline health workers and other essential workers. Fetchers of health workers must only present the ID of their passenger, while fetchers of other essential workers will have to present a certificate of employment of their passenger indicating their name, model, and plate number of the vehicle, as well as contact number and business permit of the employer. The Commission on Human Rights, or CHR, earlier urged the PNP to review and reconsider the policy on Hatid-sundo or the fetching practice for APORs. It says frontliners like health workers and essential industry personnel along with other APORs should not be deprived of their rights to access a safe way of commuting. Meanwhile, the LTFRB said APORs need to show valid identification to prove their eligibility to travel. For those who are taking the public transportation, the LTFRB said it will strictly implement the maximum allowable capacity of 50% or one seat apart in buses and jeeps, while UV Express, taxis, and Transport Network Vehicle Services, or TNVS, will have 2 passengers per row and 1 passenger at the driver's row for utility vehicles. 9 cities in the National Capital Region, or NCR, have recorded a total of 47 Delta variant cases. According to the Department of Health, Delta cases are recorded in Caloocan, Las Piñas, Makati, Malabon, Mandaluyong, Pasig, San Juan, Valenzuela, and Manila. The DOH flagged the NCR, Central Visayas, Ilocos Region, Cagayan Valley, Cordillera Administrative Region or CAR, and Northern Mindanao for having a high-risk classification based on its moderate 2-week growth rate and high-risk average daily attack rate. The National Task Force Against COVID-19 said the imposition of the enhanced community quarantine in the National Capital Region is needed to prevent the spike of COVID-19 Delta cases in the country. Chief Implementer Carlito Galvez Jr. said the ECQ aims to ensure that the country will not suffer the same fate as India and its neighboring Indonesia.
If we will not declare ECQ sa NCR, we will be next India. Indonesia, ma-experience po natin yan. Kaya titingnan natin kasi yung titingnan natin na if we will not disrupt this containment and transmission, magiging po tayo. So we consulted also the business sector. Ang sinasabi nga nila, if we will not do something drastic to disrupt the transmission, maybe we cannot recover anymore yung 4th quarter.
Meanwhile, infectious diseases expert Dr. Edsel Salvania stressed the need for stricter border controls to prevent the entry of more variants of concerns.
It seems to be deadlier, although this is still up for debate. Pero pag na-overwhelm kasi yung healthcare system mo, marami talagang mamamatay, as we saw in India, where you don't even have enough oxygen for people. Now, vaccinate. As many people as we can. We want to make sure people are fully vaccinated. Of course, good border control to prevent further introduction of other even more variants of concern.
For his part, Cabinet Secretary Carlo Nograles said the national government intends to maximize the ECQ in Metro Manila and other high-risk areas to beef up its response to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Because the Delta variant is truly highly more transmissible, I echo what PA Joey said, that it is imperative that the private sector, national government, and local government units really come together for a united effort to make the August 6 to August 20 ECQ in NCR work so that we do not need to extend. Sa haba ng ating pagtugon laban sa virus na ito na marahil higit kailanman ang pagkakataon upang tuluyan at totohanan na tayong kumilos bilang isang bansa. Your government is doing a careful balancing act so that we are all safe and at the same time help our economy recover. This ECQ is a necessary step to ensure we will be able to continue to do so.
The Department of Finance, or DOF, assures there is enough budget for financial aid during the imposition of the enhanced community quarantine in the National Capital Region. Finance Secretary Carlos Dominguez said the funds will come from dividends remitted by government-owned and controlled corporations, or GOCCs. He said the department has a sufficient budget to cover the needed 12 billion peso financial aid. Malacanang earlier announced that qualified individuals will receive a 1,000 peso subsidy or a maximum of 4,000 for 4 persons in a family. Meanwhile, the distribution of cash aid may begin tomorrow, August 6. The Department of the Interior and local government said some 13.1 billion pesos worth of cash assistance will be distributed to around 10.7 million Metro Manila residents who will be affected by the ECQ. Anyo said the cash aid will be distributed either through a manual payout, money remittance centers, or house-to-house distribution. On the other hand, the Department of Labor and Employment is requesting a 2 billion peso supplemental budget to cover the almost 400,000 formal workers who will be affected by the ECQ. Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello said the requested amount will be used under the department's COVID-19 Adjustment Measures Program, or CAMP, for displaced workers in the formal sector. Vaccine czar Carlito Galvez Jr. assures there will be allotted COVID-19 vaccines for teachers and other education support personnel. Galvez says the government is ramping up the inoculation of the teaching personnel as the country gears up for the gradual reopening of face-to-face classes in the country.
Naka-priority po yan. Ang ano po namin is maubos po sila talaga na this coming August. Ipa-priority po namin, mag-allocate po kami ng separately for DepEd. Yung lahat na nag-i-intern po ngayon, at saka po yung ibang mga nagkakaroon ng tinatawag natin mga examination, sinasama na po natin sa vaccination. And yung ititingnan po nga po namin na hinantay lang nga po namin yung directive ng ng ating NITAG at saka ng ating ng EDSTAC kung kailan po tayo pwede magbakuna ng mga 12 years and below so that we can also prioritize yung mga students po na magkakaroon po ng face-to-face.
Meanwhile, Galvez said the country's average daily vaccination rate has significantly increased from July 28 to August 3rd.
We would like to present to the Congress good news that the Philippines have already administered 21,883,781 doses of various vaccines, with 12,058,315 Filipinos that have taken the first dose, while 9,825,466 Filipinos are now fully vaccinated, which represent 13.87% of targeted eligible population, meaning 18 and above, and 8.85% of the PH total population. There was a significant increase in our daily jobs within this week, daily average of 529,911 doses. Many people, even our detractors, said that it's very impossible for us to have 500,000. Now we are breaching more than 600,000 and nearing 700,000.
Active COVID-19 cases in Quezon City have increased by over 1,000 in 1 week. Meanwhile, Negros Oriental reports a downtrend in infections. More on this from Chris Mundo.
The Quezon City government on Wednesday recorded a 3% increase in its active COVID-19 cases, bringing the total to 3,222. The city observed a steady increase in the number of residents testing positive for COVID-19 in the past few days, recording 1,274 new infections in the past 1 week. Barangay Batasan Hills reported the highest number of cases with 135, followed by Barangay Tandangsora and Culiat with 118 and 114 cases respectively. Aside from intensifying the implementation of minimum health and safety protocols, the city government stepped up its oplansita while the city is under heightened general community quarantine. Meanwhile, Bataan Governor Albert Garcia announced on Wednesday that the province would be placed under enhanced community quarantine, while the town of Mariveles would be under ECQ with heightened restrictions. Mariveles, home of the Freeport area of Bataan, is considered the epicenter of COVID-19 in the province. Garcia urged residents to prepare for ECQ but not to resort to panic buying. He also said the COVID-19 vaccination will continue at the designated venues. The Provincial Health Office reported that Bataan has 1,981 active coronavirus cases as of August 2. In other news, the COVID-19 cases in Negros Oriental has significantly dropped over the last few weeks as a result of higher quarantine classifications. The Provincial Interagency Task Force noted that the average number of daily active infections has dropped from around 3,000 to only about 400. As of August 4, the province has over 10,500 cases. Despite this, the IATF appealed to the people to continue adhering to the minimum health protocols to prevent the spread of the virus, especially amid the threat of the more transmissible Delta variant. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Chris Crismundo.
Still to come, lawmakers are seeking a probe on Octa research. And the Cebu provincial government steps in to ensure enough supply of medical oxygen for COVID-19 patients. Details ahead. Keep it here on the PNA Newsroom.
Si Mayor Richard Gomez po ito. Sa patuloy na pagharap natin sa COVID-19 pandemic, bawat isa ay bida at solusyon para wakasan ito. Huwag po tayo matakot magpabakuna dahil ito ay tiyak na proteksyon hindi lamang sa ating sarili, kundi pati sa ating pamilya, mahal natin sa buhay, komunidad. Kaya magparehistro at magpabakuna para sa ligtas na pamilya, ligtas na bayan. Ang disiplinado na Pilipino, rehistrado at kailangan bakunado.
Ang disiplinadong Pilipino ay rehistrado para maging bakunado. Kaya tayo na po't magparehistro at magpabakuna para sa ligtas na pamilya, ligtas na bansa. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat.
And it's the 14th day of the Tokyo Olympics. Filipino boxer Carlo Paalam faced Ryomei Tanaka for a guaranteed silver in the men's flyweight event. Our very own Yumir Marshall also took on Alexander Kizniak of Ukraine in the men's middleweight semifinal. There is no saying goodbye yet for Paalam as the Filipino pug advances to the gold medal round of the ongoing boxing competitions of the Tokyo Olympics. Paalam punches his way to the finals, beating hometown bet Ryomei Tanaka via unanimous decision. The pride of Bukidnon is now assured of a silver and a berth at the finals, where the Philippines might see its second Olympic gold. Paalam will face Galal Yafai of Great Britain in the final round of the flyweight event on Saturday, August 7. But it's a different story for Marshall as he ends his Olympic campaign still with a bronze for the Philippines. The 25-year-old slugger from Zamboanga fell short of making it to the finals after losing to Alexander Kizniak of Ukraine via split decision. 3 judges gave the bout to the Ukrainian, while the other 2 scoring it for the Filipino. Several lawmakers have asked for a congressional inquiry on the qualifications and credibility of Octa Research Philippines, an independent group monitoring the pandemic in the country. House Resolution 2075 urges the House Committee on Good Government and Public Accountability to ascertain the credentials and background of the research group. The lawmakers noted the media mileage Octa Research is getting for its projections and warnings about the pandemic, with the latest one pushing for a circuit breaker or hard lockdown this month. They also sought to validate the connection between Octa Research and the University of the Philippines system, which Octa affirmed but UP denied. The lawmakers said the research group has not been spared from online criticism, with a number of netizens accusing them of fear-mongering. The resolution noted that Octa's case projection model, which is based on cases reported in the last 2 weeks, is problematic because of possibly incomplete or wrong data. The Philippine Embassy in Bahrain has successfully assisted in the inoculation of over 300 undocumented overseas Filipinos with AstraZeneca vaccines. The undocumented Filipinos are beneficiaries of the embassy's libreng bakuna para kay Juan at Juana. The program has so far fully vaccinated 518 beneficiaries. The undocumented Filipinos are now able to register in Bahrain's comprehensive Be Aware Health app and avail of its features, including an electronic vaccination certificate. Apart from protection against COVID-19, the Bakuna para kay Juan at Juana program aims to provide undocumented Filipinos a chance to find employment in the kingdom. Authorities have dispelled doubts on the sufficiency and availability of medical-grade oxygen in Cebu. Cebu-based manufacturers of medical-grade oxygen have said they can produce between 600 to 800 cylinders a day. The Food and Drug Administration, or FDA, disclosed that there are 8 companies in Central Visayas that are registered as manufacturers of medical-grade oxygen. The Department of Trade and Industry said producers are maintaining a range of 4 to 14 days inventory levels during normal times and not. The Health Department, meanwhile, cautioned the public on the danger of home use of medical oxygen without supervision of doctors and storage hazards. The public is advised to report incidents of hoarding and other supply concerns. Meanwhile, Governor Gwendolyn Garcia has issued an executive order regulating the sale of medical oxygen tanks in the province to prevent hoarding amid an increase in COVID-19 cases. EO 36 was issued on Tuesday night and took effect on Wednesday. Garcia ordered manufacturers and dealers in a meeting to sell 50-kilogram tanks of medical oxygen only to the hospitals. They agreed that a doctor's prescription is required in purchasing medical oxygen for home use, and they are allowed to buy only the 20-pound portable cylinders. This policy will be in effect while Cebu is still under general community quarantine until August 15. More passengers are now more confident of traveling, knowing that the ground staff and plane crew they are interacting with are fully vaccinated against COVID-19. AirAsia spokesperson Steve Dalisan said a sweeping majority of its flyers expressed this confidence in a recent survey they conducted. The survey also showed that its guests are keen on getting vaccinated. The airline said as of August 2nd, 67% of its Filipino crew have received COVID-19 shots. With the threat of the Delta variant, the carrier is proactively campaigning to inoculate its entire workforce within the year. Dailisan said AirAsia is developing an app similar to the vaccine passport that would help the government in promoting fast, efficient, and contactless travel requirement portals. Up next, a palace official dispels fake information that COVID-19 vaccines are being used to decrease the country's population. And a fresh call from the ASEAN on parties to the South China Sea avoid actions that may escalate tensions. We're back after a quick break. Stay with the PNA Newsroom.
Ako po si Sergeant Munoz ng Philippine Air Force para sa kampanya na Disiplina Muna na pinangungunahan ng DILG. Proud po akong sabihin na bakunado na ako laban sa COVID-19. Kaya naman po panatag ang aking kalooban dahil alam ko na protektado ako at ang aking pamilya laban sa coronavirus. Bida ang may disiplina. Kaya naman magparehistro at magpabakuna na para sa ligtas na pamilya at ligtas na bayan.
Yorme Isko po, bakuna po ang ating kasangga sa patuloy na pandemya. Kaya upang maproteksyonan ang ating sarili at mga mahal sa buhay, huwag po nating palampasin ang pagkakataong magpabakuna sa lalong madaling panahon. Tandaan na sa patuloy na laban kontra COVID-19, ang disiplinadong Pilipino ay rehistrado para maging bakunado. Magparehistro, magpabakuna para sa ligtas na pamilya, ligtas na bayan. Manila, God first.
You're still watching the PNA Newsroom. Fatigue, hunger, and lack of sleep led a ranking leader of the New People's Army to surrender to the military in Zamboanga del Norte. The former rebel known as Ka Arnel made this revelation after he surrendered Tuesday to the 97th and 41st Infantry Battalion Sitio Tung Ngilauman, Barangay Bagumbayan in the town of Sergio Osmeña Sr. He is the team leader and logistics officer of a squad from the NPA's Western Mindanao Regional Party Committee. Ka Arnel said he lost all reason to believe and fight for the NPA. He called on his former comrades to surrender and receive help from the government. Ka Arnel will be endorsed to avail of the Enhanced Comprehensive Local Integration Program or ECLIP for former rebels. Presidential Communications Operations Office Secretary Martin Andanar belied rumors that President Rodrigo Duterte's mass immunization drive against COVID-19 was meant to cut down the Philippines' population. Andanar issued the clarification following a viral social media post claiming that Duterte is depopulating the country through COVID-19 vaccines. Andanar lamented that detractors are propagating lies against the Duterte administration amid the pandemic. He also dismissed the alleged sinister plot as a conspiracy theory. Contrary to critics' claim, Andanar said the administration is exhausting all efforts to protect the public against COVID-19. Andanar said the government is encouraging Filipinos to get inoculated to achieve population protection. He called on the public not to believe suspicious social media posts and ignore false information. The PCOO has launched an information and communications campaign to boost the public's confidence in COVID-19 vaccines. President Rodrigo Duterte has renewed the franchises of 2 broadcast companies and a telecom firm for another 25 years. The president signed laws renewing the franchises of Blockbuster Broadcasting System Incorporated, Tagbilaran Broadcasting System, and Trans-Pacific Broadband Group International Incorporated. Duterte also signed laws giving franchises to 4 other firms providing broadcast services. The companies must secure their licenses and permits from the National Telecommunications Commission or NTC. The broadcast firms are particularly required to provide free, adequate airtime for public service and enable the government to broadcast important public issues and relay public announcements. The Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN, has called on all parties to exercise self-restraint in the conduct of activities in the South China Sea. In a joint communique released on Wednesday, all member states reaffirmed the need to enhance mutual trust and confidence and pursue peaceful resolution of disputes. They also underscored the importance of freedom of navigation in the area in recognition of the South China Sea as a sea of peace, stability, and prosperity. The statement came following an August 2nd meeting among diplomats for the 54th ASEAN Foreign Ministers meeting. Some member states raised concerns on the land reclamations and activities in the South China Sea that are believed to undermine peace, security, and stability in the region. China and the ASEAN made progress in the creation of a code of conduct on the South China Sea during the 20th ASEAN-China Summit in the Philippines in November 2017. In efforts to bring the government closer to more people in northern Samar, Army engineers built a mini library for children in Allentown to help them practice their reading skills during this health crisis. The Army Engineers Children's Library is located inside the Philippine Army's 543rd Engineer Construction Battalion camp. The library, which was completed on June 27, has a reading area and a playground. Ramil Sumangil, founder of Book for a Cause, provided all the books. It also has 6 tablets which the children are allowed to use based on their school schedules. Since its opening, soldiers and civilian volunteers read to children every Tuesday and Friday. Battalion Commander Lieutenant Colonel Vedasto Cabales said they hope that more people will assist with the project to reach more children and protect them from the influence of the New People's Army or NPA. Let's take another look at today's biggest stories. From no to yes, the fetching of authorized workers by non-APORs is now allowed in Metro Manila, which will shift to the strictest enhanced community quarantine starting tomorrow. The government will maximize the 2-week ECQ in Metro Manila to beef up pandemic response and prevent the country from experiencing an unprecedented surge in COVID-19 cases that occurred in other countries. The country administers almost 22 million COVID-19 vaccines. The number of fully vaccinated individuals has reached 10 million. And the ASEAN calls on anew concerned parties to avoid actions that may escalate tensions in the South China Sea. As Filipinos, we all have a vital role to play in preventing the spread of COVID-19. So remember, wear your face masks and face shields, wash your hands often, practice safe physical distancing, go out only for essential reasons, and get vaccinated as soon as possible to protect ourselves, our families, and the community. Together, we can beat COVID-19. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. For more news content, check our webpage or log on to the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also, watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, we tell stories that inspire change. I am William Theo. Good day, stay safe, everyone.